In this video, you'll learn how to overcome imposter syndrome as a freelancer or agency owner. Hey, this is Zach from W Freelancing. This video is a snippet from a podcast episode I just did with Taylor Jacobson from Focusmate. It was a super sick episode, if I do say so myself. He shared a lot of great wisdom. We'll put the link in the description for that. But for this video, we're going to dig into imposter syndrome specifically. This is something a lot of us struggle with, and I certainly have for a whole heck of a lot of my life and freelancing career. And this gem from the interview has some great strategies you can apply today. So let's jump in. I think an interesting first question would be, if I'm struggling to believe that I can do something, that I know I want a change. I have this vision, this secret vision that I would never say out loud for this like life that I dream of, but it feels too lofty. And I know if I told my friend circle, they would laugh at me or whatever. But nonetheless, I want to do this really big thing, but I don't believe I can. What's the way to like believe? That's the question.
So in a way, I think it's the wrong question. I don't think we should care at all about whether we believe we can do it on some level, and we'll come back to. I think really what we want from our lives is to just like use them well and to like give it a shot. Because if you're asking, do I believe I can become a rock star one day? We might be envisioning like a specific moment where we're on stage in front of 50,000 people or something, but actually I don't think that is what's fulfilling about the thought. What's fulfilling about the thought is that you fucking went for it. Yeah. And so for me, I don't really spend any time investing in thoughts about whether I believe I can do it or not. I just focus on number one, do I actually want to do this? Or is this something I inherited from somewhere and it's not? I find myself saying it, maybe because it sounds good or I like the idea of who I might be if I did that thing, but do I really want to? So just being honest with ourselves about whether we really want to, I think that's insanely powerful. Both to, you talked about habits that you want to start, that you're not starting. I think it can be a huge relief sometimes to just be like, no, I don't really want to do that. I'm just going to like erase that from my mental list, whatever. But if you do really want the thing, owning that you really want the thing is so freaking powerful. I think it's like, it just, the inverse, like the thing that most of us do, like the biggest thing that most of us do to fuck ourselves is we just never really admit what we really want, or we water it down so dramatically. Like you said, we're like too afraid to tell our friends, because some part of us is just like, I shouldn't want that thing. So that's number one. Just own that you want the damn thing. I don't care how it sounds, just get over it and own that you want the thing. And then two is just start taking steps. And you don't need to believe in yourself to start taking steps. You just take the steps, and the steps are going to get you the next steps and the next steps. And so I don't want to be reductionist and say that our beliefs don't have any role to play. But, this is true of so many things. It's just like taking action kind of solves all other problems. And by the way, if we come back to like, that's what's actually fulfilling. Me feeling like I'm living the life I want to live isn't that I got on stage in front of 50,000 people, but it's that I'm waking up today and I'm not deluding myself that I don't want that. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do whatever that means for today. And generally speaking, like I'm going to go to bed at the end of today and I'm going to feel pretty good because I did that, versus some kind of self-loathing or anxiety or depression or all the things that come from just pretending that, we don't want the things we want.
Yeah, that's great. I have a few things I've been flagging that I want to circle back to. But on that last bit, it's like the cognitive dissonance at the end of a day of like this vision you hold in your head for how you want to be, or this thing you say for what you want. Like I say, I am the type of person who wants to work out every day, but now it's 6 p.m. and I'm eating Cheetos and playing video games yet again. Every time that a day ends that way, where there's that dissonance between what you say or what you believe and what you actually did, like it doesn't feel good. Everything else aside, whether or not it affects your life trajectory, anything, like just doesn't feel good. Doesn't make you feel like you're the kind of person who will do the things you gotta do. But conversely, we've all had those days where it's like a masterpiece day. You end the day and you don't feel good because of the results you got. You feel good because of what you did. Or at least I would imagine we've all had those days. You know, you wake up, you had to do your taxes today and you just did them. And then you had to respond to this client email and you just did. And you had to do this work. Like, at least for me, the days that I'm most proud of myself for are the days where I had something hard to do that I was putting off and I just did it. I just freaking did it. Those aren't necessarily my favorite days, but they're probably the days where I'm most proud of myself. My favorite days are the ones where I make a lot of money. But the days where I'm most proud of myself are the days where I did the things that I really didn't want to do. And I think that you tapped on an interesting point, which is like, at least for me, it's easy to obsess about doing things the right way. And I do think this might be a freelancer thing, because like, I think my perfectionism probably is fed into a little from my success as a freelancer, because as a freelancer, you're rewarded for doing really high quality work and not making mistakes, and making sure that when you do something the first time, it's correct, because clients don't like to catch your mistakes. But I think that when it ripples into like growing a business or growing a life that I want, thinking that I have to hit the ball perfectly on the first try and getting so wrapped up in how to do that I don't actually go and hit the ball is a mistake, because it's almost like this idea of prerequisite belief. And what I found is kind of what you were touching on, is like the moment I take the first step, even if it's not like the right step, even frankly, if it's a step in the wrong direction, like in hindsight, I see it was misguided and I was like, oh, stupid, why'd you do that? It still like starts this like magic invisible process where like people come into your sphere of awareness, and just like magic shit starts to happen, you know, like lucky things come your way and you notice opportunities, and you can't really point to one thing and say that it was because of that. It might be the straw that broke the camel's back or whatever, but it's like the act of taking a step and investing in yourself, even if it's not the right step, it alone is the thing that later creates the belief. I don't know. Do you agree with this?
Well, I think there's a ton of power in what you just said. I have to think more. I don't know if the belief even matters, but you've crossed over like the Rubicon from, if you're not taking steps, you're really trying to avoid failure. You're trying to protect yourself from getting hurt. You're doing some egotistical mechanism, right? And as soon as you took that first step, you've kind of just said, you know what? I accept whatever pain is going to come, because I put down my shield and I took that first step. Like you said, even in the wrong direction, it really doesn't matter, because it's not yes, you want to get there eventually, but yeah, you've just said, okay, whatever happens to me in the process of figuring this out is going to happen to me. I accept that. And I think that that mindset is what has it not matter that you took the wrong steps, because now you're just going to say, okay, oh, that was the wrong step. Now, what do I try now? What do I try now? You're in a headspace of just figuring it out instead of avoidance.
I heard this story of some like college professor in a ceramics class. Have you heard this parable regurgitated?
No.
Great. You get to hear it for the first time. It didn't come from me. And I don't even know if it's real, but there was this ceramics professor who taught 2 different classes. And he told one class that you need to create the perfect pot this year, and you will be graded based on how good the pot you submit is. And then different class, he said, you are going to be graded based on the weight of pottery. So the more heavy your pottery is, the better your grade is. And then the interesting bit is that the students who made hella pots actually made better pots. The ones who were trying to make one perfect pot didn't make very good, or they made fine pots. But these people who just said, I'm going to just make as much pottery as I can and get better as I go, they made better pots, at least in this potentially false, regurgitated parable.
Great pottery teacher.
Running A/B tests on his students. That sounds like my kind of teaching. So what sticks out for you, having seen that? Do you struggle with imposter syndrome? Do you have anything that feels useful from this video? Leave a comment. Let us know. I think it's one of those things where we often feel like we have to suffer these things alone and power through, but pretty much every freelancer who's ever come through the DYF Accelerator community or that I've otherwise talked to has struggled with this at some point or another. So you are not alone. Again, if you want to check out the full episode, I'll put the link here in the description. We'll have it on the podcast and on YouTube. It's a really, really great episode, so I think you'd dig it. And of course, if you want to go check out FocusMate, I love the tool. Can't recommend it highly enough. And you can go to dyf.link/FocusMate to do a few free sessions a week. And I think that's even my refer a friend link. So if you end up joining, you'll get a free month through that link. Thanks for being here, and see you in the next video.